Hello all, this is Halloween, and if you enjoy cemeteries and haunted history as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. In today's episode, we are headed to Tampa to visit the Memorial Park Cemetery. There's actually a famous baseball player buried there. And we're going to go to what some claim to be the best Mexican restaurant in Tampa. I guess we'll see. Enjoy. We're here at Sabor Mexican Authentic Grill in Tampa. Let's go in and get a bite to eat. Arrived at Memorial Park Cemetery in Tampa. Let's go in and see what we can see. Looks like there might be quite a few burials here that are African American burials, because they do have this style here, and this style was very popular in African American communities, and we're kind of in an African American neighborhood here as well. So I don't think that this is an all African American cemetery, but there definitely are a lot buried here. Here's a Noble Martinez, Tech 5, U.S. Army, World War II, passed in 1969. Now, I did see some burials from the 1920s, so we at least know that this cemetery dates back to the 1920s. Over here in the front, there are some old headstones. Here's one that passed away in 1927. And there's some right up here, up against the fence. Lots of veterans buried here. $1939 for these two here. Here's a 1929. But this is a neat cemetery. They have a lot of really neat headstones, and even some small above ground plots that I've taken pictures of. So it's really cool. There's 7,191 or 161 burials here. So it's a good sized cemetery. So weird. It was really warm and muggy yesterday, and today it's gotten cool again. On a day when I chose to wear shorts, which never happened. I'm wearing shorts and I'm out in the cemetery, which happens to be rather large. Hopefully, as I walk, I can warm up a bit, because it's breezy and cool out. And I really thought all that was over for us here in Florida. But there is a nice, icy cold chill in the air today. You see all of these? These are all probably African American plots here. They love this style And it kind of looks cool when there's a bunch of them together like that too. You can see up there, there's a bunch just right next to each other. Looks pretty neat. This is a Govantis family plot. Govantis. This one looks old. Francisco Valdez, 86 años, 1945. Oh, it says June 1st, 1945. There's a broken headstone here, but someone has placed it just there on the ground. Could have come from somewhere else in the cemetery. It's a Lizzie Perkins. And over here, I have another cluster of these sort of like capsule burials. Now, this cemetery is a little overgrown. It was purchased by the City of Tampa just recently in 2023. So May of 2023, it was purchased by the City of Tampa. The original owner, John Robinson, passed away in 2019, but he had been the one that always maintained the property. Or I'm sure he had a crew that did it. It's quite a large cemetery, but it looks like since the takeover, it's not being as well maintained, unless that was just always the way it was. So it is quite overgrown. Not too bad actually, but there's a lot of twigs and debris on the ground, a lot of stuff to trip on. You're going to want to probably wear boots of some kind if you're coming here to visit. It's really windy here, so I just know that's picking up in the GoPro. I need to get like a filter that filters those sounds out, but I don't know if you can see the pretty little weeds. They're pretty little purple flowers kind of dancing around the cemetery. It kind of looks like they're floating, but they're really pretty. It's definitely some kind of a weed, but I don't know, it just looks nice. It's different, you know, I haven't seen that. Here's a baby. Joseph W. Harris, born December 11th, 1963, died June 30th, 1964. There are really a lot of cool headstones here to see. My only problem with it is it's right off the main road. There's two main streets, MLK and I don't know what this one is, but it's kind of surrounded by main roads, so there's a lot of traffic noise, and there's apartments just on the other side over here, and everybody's playing loud music. It's coming from over there and from behind me, so it's not really the most quiet, peaceful cemetery, but as far as the memorials go, it's really neat. And I'm really glad I stopped by here today. It's really cool. The trees are kind of cool, like the way they're placed too. You're kind of walking through these trees. I was looking for this baseball player, but it's likely I may not be able to find him. He is one of the many veterans buried here. And he died at the young age of 29. Didn't really say how he died, which normally they do. His last name was Allen. We got a Willie Allen right here. You can just hear all the traffic, and it's just kind of a loud cemetery. Not real quiet at all. Here is a Robinson plot, but doesn't look like, well, it could be family of the previous owner of the cemetery, John Robinson, but it's spelled the same and everything, so, but I'm not sure. photograph here just looks like it's glowing. So Roosevelt W. Williams, also known as Pee-wee. August 28th, 1950 to September 23rd, 1996. I'm gonna make my way up here to the other side of the cemetery. You can see, notice as well, that most of the departed are facing east, as we also see in a lot of the African American cemeteries. So it is said that they do that because in the Bible it says that when Jesus comes again, he's going to be coming from the east. So they want to be facing him when he comes again. I have mentioned that in previous videos, but just in case you're just tuning in, that's the reason for that. Here's Robinson. This is a Frank and Mamie Robinson. So Robinson is kind of a big name around here in this cemetery. You can see that with some of these capsules that the grounds are so overgrown that it's almost completely covering the burial. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it could use a little maintenance. In this above ground resting place, it looks like somebody tried to get out. It's all cracked where all the script is in the front, so you can't hardly read it very well. And then as you go around, it's all sealed with more cement. So all the way around it's like that. So that's rather odd. Haven't seen that before. Lots of trees in this one, which is always really nice, especially if it's sunny and hot outside, which it's not today. But luckily, walking around, I'm getting warmed up. It's not cold, it's just there's a nice chilly breeze in the air today. I've seen a lot of Fannies in this cemetery. The first name Fannie, F-A-N-N-I-E. That's a Fannie B. Stone. I wish I was doing this before my kids were born. I come through these cemeteries and I see some really cool names. Really cool names. Here's an old one. 1908. Yep. I figured this one was probably established in the late 1800s. It looks like this one's probably the oldest, 1908. That's the oldest I've seen so far. I can't make out the date on this headstone. You see a lot of this style with the tile on it in Oaklawn Cemetery, which is Tampa's oldest cemetery. But this one's not much newer. Yeah, this fella, look at him. Like he's straight out of the 1800s. So that's pretty cool to see. I did take a still shot of that one. Like I said, a lot of veterans in here. World War II right there. Looks like they're also still entering here. We're up toward the east front, the east entrance of the cemetery. And I'm seeing a lot of old headstones around here. This one is 1906. This was a young boy too. So he was born in January of 1887 and passed in 1906. So there's another old one. This one has broken off, but does give the death date of 1914. So as you get closer to the east end of the cemetery, you will see a lot of old headstones. And actually, I think there's more veterans in here than any non-veteran cemetery I've ever seen. There's a lot of veterans here. World War II mostly. 1917 and 1916 here. Well, we didn't find our baseball player, but I'll tell you a little bit about him when we get back to the crib, if you can find him. His name is Hosea Walter, also known as Buster Allen Sr. And he was a somewhat famous ball player. We didn't find him because, as you can see, it's quite a big cemetery with upwards of 7,100 burials. It's just kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack, especially the cemetery is not separated into sections. He's probably just got a lot number and that's it. So it just makes it even harder to find him. We're headed out of the cemetery now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you at the next one. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you loved today's episode. I just wanted to say that Mexican food was amazing. But if you're looking for Mexican on a Sunday in that part of Tampa, it's going to be hard. We went to like 5 different Mexican places before we finally found this one. They were all closed. Taco Bus was closed. Chapo's in Ybor City was closed. And like 2 food trucks that we passed that were closed, all Mexican food. So we finally stumbled upon this one, and it was amazing. The food was great. Some of the best Mexican food we've had in a while. So it wasn't the place we originally planned to go, which was Chapo's and Ybor, but it was very, very good. Unfortunately, in the cemetery, we didn't find Hosea Walter Allen, Buster Allen. It was just hard to find, and there were so many veterans buried there, like I said. But he was a private first class in the military, and he also was a pro baseball player. He played in the Negro Leagues during the 1940s. He was born in Jacksonville, Florida, in October of 1918. He was also affectionately known by the nicknames Long Boy and Slim. So he was very tall and slim. He was 6'5", actually, and 213 pounds. So he was just a real tall, lanky, thin guy. He was a pitcher. He started his career with the Jacksonville Redcaps from 41 to 42, and then went on to play with the Cleveland Buckeyes in 46. He ended his short career because unfortunately he passed away at 29, but he ended his career with the Indianapolis Cincinnati Clowns. I had never heard of them. It doesn't really say much as to how he died, but he was so young, so I don't know if it was an accident or a heart attack or what it was, but he passed very young. But he is buried there in the cemetery if you're lucky enough to find him. Someone will one day, and then you'll know who he is. But you can also find his information on Find a Grave. He's big enough to be on Wikipedia, so he was pretty famous. That does it for today's episode. If you haven't already, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you next time.